So I have played Breath of the Wild for over 4,500 hours and have pretty much done anything you can in this game, at least speedrun wise. Any percent, so just beat the game, all shrines, speedruns, get late percent. I've even done like 5 100% speedruns, so surely I must have seen everything, right? Well, that was until I went through some burnout of the game trying to find new things to speedrun. This is when I had the idea to try and do all minigames in Breath of the Wild as fast as possible, in a row, kind of like doing the all sports speedrun in Wii Sports. But when I checked online where to actually find all the minigames, since they are completely optional even in the 100% speedrun, I was actually really surprised to see how many there were. So there is the mounted archery course, the mounted obstacle course, gambling, the eventide paraglider course, deer hunting, which I had never even seen anywhere, a blue flame minigame I have never played, because why is this even a minigame? 2 different gut check rock challenges, the test of wood minigame, snowball bowling, the foot race, boom bam golf, the Birdman research, the sand seal race, and finally the ice cube delivery. While trying out all of these minigames, I realized that this is actually a super fun speedrun. This technically was already an official category, but it started from the very beginning of the game and was very tedious. So in my run I could prepare for the games with stuff like speed buffs, specific gear, and the fastest horse for mounted games. So here is my fully commentated speedrun of all the minigames. Enjoy! This is the all minigame speedrun. We start on the mounted archery course, and the reason we start here is because this minigame is in the middle of nowhere. There's no shrines around here, so if we did this later in the run we would lose time getting here. Because with this rule set I will start the timer when it basically says start for the first minigame, and I will end the timer when it says finish for the last minigame. And that's why it's nice to start with this one. As far as the mechanics for this minigame go, I'm using the Great Eagle Bow in combination with bomb arrows. That will help me make my shots more easily and also go through the course more effectively, with more speed. And I'm also using the Ancient Bridle and Ancient Saddle. Well, the Ancient Saddle is kind of useless here, but the Ancient Bridle gives me 2 extra stamina spurs. And you notice that I actually shot 23 targets here. 23 targets, even though there is 25, is what originally gives you the best reward for this minigame, the Knight's Saddle. Since I already have the Knight's Saddle, the best reward now becomes 20 bomb arrows. And I decided for this run, in order for this run to actually count, I have to get the best reward from each of the minigames. On my timer you can see what those best rewards are. For the next one, for example, it will be a silver rupee. It makes it a lot harder to get a good run, but otherwise, if you just needed to play the minigame, obviously you could just jump off the horse and you basically end up not even playing the minigame, and that's what makes it a little bit more interesting. And for the most part, it makes the run better, but if there's one minigame where it makes the run worse, it is the mounted obstacle course, the one I'm doing next. And it's because it is bugged. Nintendo did leave a bug in for this minigame. One of the hurdles where you have to jump over was not tested on release, and the bug is still there. Like, the horse sometimes just doesn't jump over the hurdle. And hopefully it won't happen here, but unfortunately when playing this minigame, I want to say around 90% of my runs die here, because that bug happens, and it even happens twice. But since I have a 5-star horse, or 5-speed horse, we have 2 chances. So in general, the 5-speed horse is surprisingly worse for this minigame, because on some other hurdles, the horse will eventually just randomly stop. It will not listen to your command and just stop in front of the hurdle. Or it will just, I don't know, it will just be harder to maneuver. But the only advantage is on the bugged hurdle that's coming up in 2 jumps from now. If you miss it, the 5-speed horse is fast enough so you can retry it and still get a time better than 1 minute and 15 seconds. so you can get the best rewards. So this is the bug turtle. And I actually made it look easy on this one. Usually that's not how it looks. Usually the horse bugs out a lot. And it skirts to one of the sides. So that was nice. Okay, I guess we have a 10% run here right now. Oh, okay, but we got a nice bug here. Horse not jumping over. Hopefully the 5-speed horse is going to carry us through anyway. At least I got to show off how bad this minigame is. I'm sure if you did find this minigame casually, which again, a lot of these minigames before doing this run I have never even seen. But if you did find this one casually, I'm sure you hated it. Just like me, and just like most people in my chat. This is also being done live on Twitch right now. Twitch.tv/Limcube. We're doing, I mean, recently I've been honestly doing a lot of fun runs, kind of like this. But I'm definitely getting back to more serious speed running soon. I really want to do any % master mode. There's going to be a YouTube video about that soon. I really think that's the most interesting run right now. But since I'm live on Twitch, I can ask my chat what chest they want to pick me during gambling. Because this is literally just a 1 out of 3 chance. And there's basically nothing you can do to guess the rewards here. Like there's no secret tip that you can do. There's no like RNG manipulation. The entire game resets when you play this game. So it's truly RNG. It is truly RNG. Right, again, trust me, is what Carter is saying. Carter did pick the right chest earlier. Their luck has been through the charts. So let's see. It's incredible. Today is Carter's lucky day. I've never seen a person this lucky in my life. But yo, thank you for the 90 seconds of time save. This is just how this minigame works. There's nothing you can do. But as you can see, I'm 1 minute and 28 seconds ahead now. Just because in my last run, I didn't get this lucky. And I didn't have Carter here on Twitch.tv to carry my run. But okay, I really am gonna focus for this minigame. All of my runs that have been pretty solid randomly died to, because honestly this minigame's hard. I don't want to overcomplicate it, because otherwise I think I'll throw it. But it's super easy to choke here. This is a fun minigame, and it's pretty easy to make money with this minigame. This minigame only unlocks once you beat Eventide Island. It's something that I feel like most people have seen, but definitely not all of them. There's great music, just the same music that plays during the Birdman Research, which is one of the most common minigames, most prominent ones. But the problem is that in order to get the best reward, you have to get 50 rings. Not 30, not 40, you have to get 50. And there is no way to get 50 rings with just following one path. You have to basically switch paths mid-air. And it's actually not easy. And this is weird, because obviously when I play Breath of the Wild in a speedrun, I usually use my glider. Because that's what you just do when you use wind bombs. But using the glider just like this, specifically with updrafts and stuff, can actually be really annoying. And I've been losing way too many runs to this minigame. More than I want to admit. But let's just follow the rings. Here we want to lose a little bit of height. And after this next ring, you can see the path would basically lead us to the right, but we will go to the left. And this is where the other path at the beginning would have started. But for us, we will basically continue from here. Pick up 2 more rings. And then change the direction towards the Hinox here. Or Hinox, as some say. And this is the hard part. You have to take multiple updrafts close to the ground. And get maximum height from them. And now one little trick you can do, which I like, is eating stamina food. Specifically towards the end here. Because otherwise you may run out of stamina. And exactly 50 rings, I was like crying there internally because I thought I again lost too much height. I don't know why this minigame is randomly the hardest one in the game, but thankfully we got it. 50 rings is what you need, and honestly, like, try it. It's probably harder than it looks. At least for me. Maybe it's easier for others. Anyway, so this is basically the reason I'm making this a YouTube video, because there's minigames in this game that I didn't know existed. And deer hunting is the most interesting one in my opinion, not because it's fun, but because it almost feels out of place in terms of how cruel it is. Some people in my chat told me they use this minigame to farm meat, which you will see makes sense. But I certainly didn't know it's in the game, and I think it's funny and cruel at the same time. It's also not easy to find. Like, you have to basically explore everything to find this minigame. It's up here at the stable where one of the quests is in the game, the sheep rustlers, where you have to go to like a camp and defeat some enemies. And then this guy randomly, like he doesn't have any sign of being interesting, but when you talk to him, he asks you to go deer hunting. And you have to, in order to get the best reward, which is only 50 rupees for this, you have to kill 10 deer in like a pretty short amount of time. I think it's 1 minute. Now we actually got lucky here because it's raining. And rain increases our stealth. So usually these deer run all over the place. But with rain, we can be a little bit louder. I'm still mainly going to be using the Great Eagle Bow. And try to basically kill as many deer early as possible. And the reason for the early part is if you do this right. Okay, I might actually switch to the Bow of Light here. If you are wondering how I got the Bow of Light. I made a YouTube video on this in the past. Oh, this deer ran very far. It's definitely not easy. How do I only have 8 though? This is confusing me a little bit. I think I may have scared them away. I know where one of them is. Uh-oh. Losing time in deer hunting is nothing unheard of. I think the rain actually... Oh god. I missed it. I missed it. And this is the problem, right? I only got 9. So I guess we're going another hunting session. That is unfortunate. And it honestly is hard. Like, it is hard to get 10. They at least don't change their position. You can see I only get the red rupee here. Not good enough. We gotta go again. And we lose some time, but thankfully I have a big amount of time save later in the golf minigame, which we can easily mess up too. Let's try with the Bow of Light this time. So I made a video how to get the Bow of Light. This is also, by the way, kind of the reason why I'm even doing this run. I think it was really interesting. There is actually an all minigames run on the leaderboard on speedrun.com. But what I thought was interesting is taking this run and instead of starting the run in the beginning of the game, starting the run basically by just doing the minigames. And what I think is interesting about this is that obviously you can do preparation. Like, I'm also using the Royal Guards armor here. Oh, where's this last deer? Oh, okay. I'm like confused. This went a lot better. So I actually have like a couple seconds to spare here. Also, I'm not sure if you can see how bad the frame rate is. It's actually ridiculous. The only little optimization you can do here is leave the forest. If you leave the forest early, like this, at least you get some extra time save. Because I technically still had 8 seconds in the forest here and the minigame was going to continue, even though there weren't any deer left. So leaving the forest prematurely is your way to save time. We end up being 1 second behind here, but like I said, I still have time save later. But yeah, I think it's just very cruel and out of place. There's literally like a little counter that shows you how many deer you killed. Anyway, so the next minigame is kind of a joke if you do preparation. Originally, you have to bring the blue flame all the way from the original blue flame source to this lady at the stable here. And it's not fun. I don't know why they decided to make this a minigame. It's pretty bad. But there's one way to make this minigame a lot faster. Now the thing is, at first for this minigame you get like 300 rupees, but as you play it more and more, your reward actually gets worse. All the way down to 20 rupees. Like, I actually have to pay 20 rupees to play this game. And then I get rewarded 20 rupees as well. So this is literally useless. But since, and you can already see it in the background, I've already lit up this torch. All this minigame is switching to the ancient bow, lighting an arrow on fire, and then shooting the lantern. and that's it. So it's bad because I'm not really gaining anything here, but it is a minigame, and it would be weird if we just didn't do one of the minigames for the sake of it. So that's why. We're going to go right here now. This is where the gut check rock challenges are. And one advantage of this area is that it will never rain here. So that's nice because we're going to climb. And the gut check rock is pretty popular. No, people know this minigame because it's how you first access the shrine. But there's actually a second version called the super gut check. And I'm not sure how many people actually played this. So for the normal gut check, you have to get 50 rupees in order to... 100 rupees, you have to pay 50. You have to get 100 rupees to get the best reward, which is a rush room, which sounds really bad, but obviously you get to keep all of the rupees that you're making. And then for the super gut check, you have to get 300 rupees, but there's a nice little trick that makes that super easy. And you can see, again, this is where the Royal Guards outfit comes into play. When I'm doing these climb jumps, like I'm doing here, I'm barely using up any stamina. And at the same time, it also increases my charge attack, my any other basically stamina consumption, which is nice. So that was gut check. And now I need to make sure that it's like the super gut check challenge here. This costs 100 rupees to compete in, and you have to get 300 rupees, and then your best reward is I think Endura Shroom, which is also not great, but again, we get to keep all of the rupees. So for this one, we're gonna start out with a classic wind bomb. And then turn around. And if you look up, you can see there's a golden rupee. And since we literally only need 300 rupees to complete this, after we get this golden rupee, we're done. So I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it all the way up, even with the Royal Guards armor here. Doesn't look like it. So I'm gonna have to eat another stamina meal, refilling my stamina bar. And then that should be it. We will get the Endura Mushroom here, and the 300 rupees on top. Next minigame will be the Test of Wood. In the Test of Wood, that's another example where originally when you play the minigame, that's how you unlock the shrine. You get 3 different wooden weapons in the Korok Forest, the Forest Dweller's sword, shield and bow, and you're not allowed to remove that equipment at any point. And then, once you have completed the shrine, you can redo the Test of Wood. And instead of getting a shrine, you can just get some extra rupees. I'm trying to wind bomb up here to start the challenge. This is always a little bit of a risky wind bomb, because obviously in Korok Forest there's this fog around that can void you out. We managed to get it on the second attempt here. And then this guy should give me the equipment back. And we will do the Test of Wood. Now, this is one thing that makes grinding this run a little bit weird. And I basically have a dedicated save file that I use to do this run. Because once you set a record in this, a record time, you actually have to beat that record time to get the best reward, which is, again, 100 rupees. So on this specific save file, this is the first time I'm doing this minigame, which means I have 5 minutes to actually get to the end. And obviously, just as usual in Breath of the Wild, wind bombs break stuff like this. We can just wind bomb all the way to the end. There's no challenge here, really. We just gotta go fast. And then we should get our 100 rupees. Now it's important that we say no here, because they want us to do the challenge again. And we don't want to do that because we want to move on to shield surfing, which is actually surprisingly hard. There's 2 levels of shield surfing in the game. Shield surfing basic and shield surfing advanced. There's going to be 2 different strats for them. There's going to be 2 different movement strats. And you can already see on my map there's like this weird suspicious line of stars. That will actually come into play here. One thing I always need to remember when doing this is to re-equip my stuff. Because once I'm done playing the last minigame where I had to use the wooden gear, they remove the wooden gear from me, and Link has no shield or sword or bow equipped. And I will need pretty much all three to do the next part of the minigames. Also, my Radiant Shield is looking kind of weak, scaring me a little bit. I'm definitely gonna need that. Hopefully it will be fine. So here's Selmy. We're gonna play the beginner's course first for 20 rupees. The best reward possible here is gonna be 50 rupees. Originally, that is a specific shield. And then for the advanced course, it's gonna be 100 rupees again. But for this one, surprise, surprise, we will opt for a wind bomb. And not any wind bomb, but a little bit of a delayed wind bomb. Hopefully we can get a decent angle here. Not the fastest one, but I will eventually just go for 2 wind bombs. That's usually what I do here now. So once I'm done with the first one, I land on the next slope. Try to do something similar again. Unfortunately, didn't work here. So we might end up having to just surf to the end. Hopefully that is fast enough. I'm actually not sure if it is. Might be a little scary, because it is still quite far to go. You can do this in 2 minutes. I think if you get under 40 seconds, you get the best reward. It's a bit scary. I don't think I'll make that. So we might have to replay this one. But I'm fine with that. There's just so many minigames. It's really hard to get all of them first try. I'm not sure what the threshold here is. Is it under 45 seconds or under 40? I'm about to find out by whatever reward I'm getting. I think it is 40 seconds. No, it's not. Nice. We still get the best reward. Gotta be 45 then. I did make a pretty big mistake just now. I guess it's not a huge mistake, but because I thought I lost a lot of time, I pressed B instead of pressing the advanced course right away. But that's fine. We're doing it now. Selmy, it's fine. I'm here again. Yep, I missed you too. I want to do the advanced course now. And in the advanced course, things get tricky. Because a wind bomb is not really going to be useful. I mean, it is, but it's not the best strat. And instead, we're going to be opting for another movement tech. The bow, lift, smuggle, slide. Something that I talked in my videos about recently. It's a mechanic found by Legend of Link, which definitely transformed the game once again, specifically the new Great Plateau speedrun route. And we're going to be using it to our advantage here. So I'm going to be focusing on the setup, because this is not a good ledge to do it on. This is why. Yeah, sometimes you will just fly in the wrong direction. Oh, I guess we whistled? Well, maybe the horse helps me here. So that I don't fly in the wrong direction. You got me? You got... Oh! Wait, actually... Big. Lightning spawning in just in time, so I get blocked from flying in the right direction. Absolutely huge. Horse strats working out. So, and if you actually look at the minimap, this is why the stars are there. Most of the time, the weather is okay. Like right now, it's okay. I can at least kind of still see where I'm gliding. And this is again the BLSS strat, allowing me to basically fly directly to the end goal. I'm actually a little bit further away here than I wanted to, but it's fine. Sometimes, and you know Hebra, sometimes Hebra is bad. And sometimes you basically can't even see your hand in front of your eyes. And that's where the stars really come in clutch. I lost a lot of time here from unintentionally going back, but this is all still fine. Keep in mind, we have Boom Bam Golf coming up. And Boom Bam Golf is going to be our hope. And also potentially our demise. It's a very hard minigame. And it's very luck-based. Okay, the horse bugging out in the back there. Yeah, Boom Bam Golf is pretty much out of our control. There's no strats for it other than praying. I mean, there's a little bit of a strat for it, but it's really bad. We're going to the flight range now, and this minigame is another minigame that I personally didn't know existed. Like, yes, you know the flying range from playing the game casually, because this is how you attack the Vine Beast Var Meadow, and that's at least what most people did. But once you've beaten the Vine Beast Var Meadow, you can actually return to Rito Village, talk to Teba and his son, And they will return to the flight range to set up a minigame there, where if you want the best reward, 300 rupees, you have to hit every single target. And originally this is actually kind of hard, but we have the Bow of Light. From the Bow of Light glitch, once again, video on my YouTube channel. It's hard to do though, I don't necessarily recommend doing it. And it's super useful for this one. So you don't have much time to do the minigame, but bullet time messes up the timer here. So having 3 bars of stamina makes this minigame a lot easier. Also, every time we open our glider, it resets, which is nice. The stamina, I mean. Okay, I'm getting a little bit scared again, because I know where one of the targets is. But it's super easy. Okay, never mind. I was gonna say it's super easy to miss the last one. That was actually not too bad. Is the Bow of Light safe allowed in speedrun? Yes. This speedrun is all about as much preparation that you want. That's why I'm basically making this a run. I think this is what makes a run so fun. So originally the speedrun starts from the beginning of the game. Then the Bow of Light wouldn't be allowed. But what makes this speedrun interesting is that you can do any preparation that you want. You can have the Bow of Light, you can have a 3 speed up elixir, you can use any armor that you want, and I think that's what in the future is going to make this run more interesting, because people are going to come up with better strats to prepare their file with. Like maybe a more optimal armor gets found, maybe a more optimal weapon for the golf challenge gets found, maybe an even better bow gets found. I already technically know that, for example, a quick shot Royal Guards bow has the highest fire rate in the game, making potentially some of the games better. And I think that's what's going to be interesting about this in the future. Okay, snowball bowling with Bob Ross is what the next minigame is. And usually I get a strike here nowadays, but sometimes it doesn't work out. You want to make sure that you just put the ball to the ground. You don't want to throw it, so it gets as big as possible, and then pray. And this looks good, we got the strike. Originally you get a Blizzard Rod here as the best reward when you have an inventory space. I already got the Blizzard Rod, so I will get 300 rupees instead, which is the best reward now. And speaking of preparation before the run, the DLC medallion here next to the foot race is amazing. This basically allows us to skip the traveling there, saving some seconds, and also one of the most annoying movements. Like, you can actually wind bomb there, but it's annoying to do. And again, this is me preparing in advance another mini game that's kind of in the middle of nowhere, so having the DLC medallion right here is nice. And this is Conba. And Conba is gonna race us to the top of the mountain. Now Conba is pretty fast. He has some good footwork. But what Conba doesn't have is wind bombs. And as usual, in the spirit of wind bombs changing the game, also here they will be our best friend. And not only do we have to get pretty far. Oh, this run is blessed by the Lord of the Mountain. Nice. But we also get height, which makes him so good. It literally is basically made for this run. When wind bombs first got found, I remember people were using it on this challenge, just because it's so perfect for it. Nice landing towards the end. Not too bad of a foot race, but again, this run doesn't mean much because we haven't reached Boom Bam Golf yet. Boom Bam Golf is about to come up though, and it can certainly be bad. Maybe I'll get to show off why it's bad, but hopefully I don't. First of all, we gotta get to Boom Bam Golf. And I'm gonna choose to use the BLSS again, because it is just a little bit too far for a wind bomb. But the BLSS works pretty well here. So Boom Bam Golf, another minigame that some people have never found, is below the Tabantha Bridge in the canyon. And you can faintly see something on the ground there. This is where a Goron is waiting for us. We will also get real Goron City music. And in order to get the best reward here, which is a silver rupee, again, we have to get the ball into the hole in 3 attempts. So the par is 3, and we have to hit it. So the most reliable strat that we found is to charge up the ball fully for the first 2 hits. And then for the second 2 hits, sorry, for the last hit, is where it gets hard. You can easily mess up there. And I hopefully won't show why, but maybe I will. So here I'm going to chase the ball using a wind bomb. Then again, like I said, charging up the ball all the way. Hopefully it won't leave the course. This looks like a decent position, a little bit further away from the hole than I would want. Also gonna eat some food because we're gonna go to the desert next, where we will probably take some damage. And I don't like this position. This could go pretty badly, but let's try. So the best strat we found here is to hit the ball 3 times with the hammer. And then switch to a one-hand weapon. And hit it 3 times as well, and then pray. And we did get it. I was about to say didn't, but we actually got really lucky there. The ball rolling in at the very end in our favor. So boom, bam, golf redeeming us. And even though the deer hunting wasn't great, we end up with some time save here. 1 minute ahead, but still 3 minigames to go. Some of them pretty easy. The last one, honestly, still pretty hard. So for the Birdman research, which is the next minigame, people keep coming back to this minigame. This is like the first thing that people do when a new glitch gets found. And you would think the BLSS sounds great for this, and it is. The BLSS allows you to get ridiculous scores for this next minigame, that little slide, because you can basically infinitely slide. But it is still slightly faster to go for a wind bomb here, because the setup is quicker. So all we need to do to get the best reward is we need to reach 600 meters. So let's see what we can do. That's a pretty good wind bomb. And again, the BLSS, while it could carry us really far, it wouldn't be able to get us to the speed as quickly. And then around here we should be able to fall, because 600 meters were reached. And we should get the best reward here. 100 rupees again, ideally. And then the 2 Gerudo minigames are left. Sandseal Race, I'm not too concerned about. Ice Delivery can still ruin our run at the very end. So the one problem with Sandseal Race, though, is it has the same property that the Test of Wood has in Korok Forest. Which means once you do this minigame, you have to beat your time to get the best reward, the 300 rupees. And the problem is I didn't know that when I set up this file. So when I first did the Sandseal Race, I actually got like an okay time. I think it was like a high 115, and that's pretty good. On average, I should get better times when I'm actually paying attention here. But I can actually mess up and have to do the Sandseal Race again, which is a little risky towards the end here. But let's see. So, what you can get a 114 here, which is like pretty fast. Like, it's definitely kind of hard to get. But let's see what we can do. Thank you for the sub, by the way. For the 1-year subscription, I really appreciate it. I'll thank you properly once we're done with the run. There's one little shortcut in the Sandseal Race, which is after the second arc. Yeah, I think that's right. Arch? I think arch. Going between these 2 bones here. And you want to make sure that you stay close to the goal. Or goal, I guess goal works too. It wasn't super fast, but I think my start here was pretty fast. The start to the Sandseal Race is like half of the final time you'll get. It's super important. One other optimal line happens a little bit later. Here we want to make sure that we go like in the middle of the canyon. We don't want to slam into any of these boulders. Stay on the left side here. And I actually go on the left side of this boulder, which is not going to look super quick, but it is actually the more direct line. .108 there. That actually does seem kind of slow. Hopefully we'll be fine. 112, 113. Oh, low 115. Nice. Almost 114. If I managed to have a cleaner line in the early game, I could have been a 114. Looks like I have some time save here, around 20 seconds. I should get most of that. And then I'm actually going to have to sleep on the campfire. And that's because for the ice delivery, and I think that's done intentionally by the game, the person that hosts this minigame goes to bed super early. And I think this is basically so that when players do this minigame, they have to deal with the sun, so that people can't cheese it by waiting until nighttime. So I'm gonna wait until noon, because even if you wait until morning, she will still be asleep. Noon is the best time for this game. And then we still have to get there, which again, this is a perfect distance to go for one of those slides. Hopefully it'll work out. We do need to be careful that we don't unintentionally get too close to Gerudo Town with these close on. And then to actually beat the minigame, we are also going to be using a BLSS. And it's going to be an interesting one, because we will be using the ice cube itself to solve the minigame. I'm not moving very fast here. I should have went for more flicks, but I was scared of dropping the input. Should be okay. We're gonna start the minigame. And one little trick, and it's actually scary to do, is we're gonna be using a fire arrow to melt this ice block slightly, which is gonna make the slide using it a little easier. But we gotta be careful that we don't shoot the fire arrow too close to it, otherwise it will completely melt and we have to redo it. Kind of like this. Now we want to make sure that we switch back to normal arrows, set up the slide. Like this. And here with the cube specifically, it's kind of nice to go for these spins. Usually these flicks that I've done earlier are best to originally speed up Link when using this trick, but these spins just give you a little bit more control. And since this is a pretty fast way to get to the end, the spins will be the better strategy. I will probably lose some time towards my gold, but I will actually end up with a new personal best. The final game is now over, and we got a 35-minute time for all minigames. Nice. It took me way too long to get this run. I know I basically commentated everything, kind of like this is like the first time I'm doing this, but I don't even know. I think I started like 20 runs where I commentated everything, and finally there was one that was like all right. Like, yes, I messed up the deer hunting once, but other than that it was pretty nice. I think it is a genuinely fun run. And I would like for more people to try this out first before I try it again, because I want to know people's ideas for strategies for all of the minigames. Also, have you seen all of these minigames? You watching right now, have you known there was deer hunting in the game? If there was a minigame that you didn't know about, which one was it? I would love if you would let me know in the comments for the algorithm, you know. You could have my back there, I would really appreciate it. But honestly, join us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Limcube. You can see the GGs bopping around. It's always a good time. I will be focusing on any % master mode and some other interesting runs soon. Video about the new master mode stuff coming out soon. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.